in spite of the fact that women have changed considerably over a several centuries period, men haven't really changed, and their basic nature has stayed exactly the same since they were like cavemen, protozoa on the planet. But one thing that I wanted to talk about, because I see this happening a lot, is women calling men first and calling men a lot. And I know people are like, well, normally you say that, women shouldn't be stuck in these roles and blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm not talking about a role. I'm talking about dealing with man's innate nature, that desire to chase, to conquest, conquer, to have, to win, and all that kind of stuff, to work to get something that has never changed. And it's the smart woman, instead of trying to fight against it, works with it. And that's what I'm suggesting that you do. In a situation like this, we have women who want to take the initiative, right? So you meet this dude and you like, ooh, he's fine. I want to get me some of that. So here you go. You're going to stroll up to him and ask him for his number, and, take the initiative to call him and take the initiative to set up the date and do all the stuff. You doing too much. What you have just done is removed all motivation for this man to seek you out, to be curious about you, to build up some excitement over you. You just took all that away because you just doing too damn much. What you do is, if a guy is interested in you, you give him your number. And, some people exchange numbers, and I do advocate that in a business setting. Like if you're at a networking event or something like that, you guys exchange cards. That's different. And in a social setting, God, I have like tongue twisted today. Haven't had enough caffeine. But if you are in a social setting, what you want to do is give him your number so he can call you. And if he offers his number, say, well, I'll get it when you call me. What does that do? That puts the onus back on him to make the call if he wants you to have his number. Now, if he sends you a text with his number, do not respond, delete it. You want him to man the fuck up and call and talk to you like an adult. And I know this texting thing is all popular and stuff, but you know what texting does? It keeps you at a distance. It's very non-intimate form of communication. So if you have a guy who only wants to text you, I talked about that in another video, you just leave him alone because he's not mature enough to deal with you. You want a guy who's going to pick up the phone and who's going to call. Now, when he calls, you have a nice conversation and all that. If he offers you his number, then you take it. But do you use it? No, you don't. Do you ever call a man first? No, you don't. I mean, I remember reading on Facebook the other day, this guy is a cop, and he was talking about his new partner and how his new partner would call his girlfriend like 12 times a day, which I thought was totally excessive. And his thing was, every time he hangs up, he tells her that he loves her. And I'm thinking, okay, this guy's got a few screws loose, or he's very insecure, or something is going on with him. But if that's, works for them, that's fine. The cop who was reporting the story said he calls his wife 4 times a day, and, just checks in on her, tells her what's going on in his day, and finds out what's going on in hers with the kids, this kind of stuff. That's their way of keeping in touch. To me, that's still a lot, but whatever. But if you notice the thing here, both of these men are in very close, tight relationships. And both of those men call the women in their lives. Now, when you have a woman who wants to call a man, and he picks up, and he may pick up the phone, but do you notice that he's always like kind of half interested? He's distant, his attention is scattered, it's not really on you. You struggling to keep this, to keep the conversation going. He might be talking to people in the background, or mumbling because he's focused on something else because you interrupted him. I mean, there's always something that's kind of unsatisfying about the communication that takes place on the call when you call the man first. You would be smart, because we got to play with what our natures are. Men's is to conquer and to win, and women's is to feel adored. please explain to me how in the world you feel adored when you call your man all excited to hear from, to talk to him and hear his voice and whatnot, and he's kind of giving you the brush off, or he might actually have to give you the brush off because maybe he's running into a meeting, he's got to do something at the doctor, there's something going on where he can't really give you the time and attention that you were looking for when you picked up that phone to call him. So when you hang up, you feel dismayed. Okay, so you want to avoid all that. You want to avoid putting him in that position to hurt your feelings, and you want to avoid your feelings being hurt. I mean, this is real simple. So what you do is you just sit your ass down somewhere and let him call you when he's got a moment free, when he's going to devote all his time and attention on you, when he's been thinking about you to the point where he can't stand it anymore, so he wants to talk to you. That's what you want. And I know it's really difficult for a lot of young women to understand because you all got this whole different mentality about, dealing with dudes, and you gonna call him and you gonna text him and you gonna invite him out and you gonna take him on a date and you gonna pay for the date and you gonna do all the stuff. But all you guys are doing is taking away that opportunity that a man has to show you that you're important to him and that you're worth fighting for. It's like, do you feel that you're worth it? I mean, sometimes I wonder when I hear women telling these stories, it's like they don't feel like they have any value. So they're going to just overwork and overgive and do too much to try to get and keep a man's attention. And it's not supposed to be like that. I mean, if he don't call you, that means he's not interested. And then you just drop him and move on to the next one. It's not hard. But you all want to keep the shit going, and you want to try to put in quote work, and you want to do all this stuff to try to keep the guy's attention focused on you. And it's not, that never works. He's either into you or he's not. I mean, it's just that simple. And a man who's into you is going to want to A, call you, B, be around you. So if you got to beg him to spend time with you and you got to hunt him down on the phone, that's a man who's trying to tell you by his actions that you ain't the one. When they're into you, you can't get rid of them. They do like that dude, the cop was talking about his partner, calling you 12 fucking times a day. They want to be on the phone with you forever and all this stuff. You got shit to do. And you be like, I can't really talk this long, but, I gotta go. But that's how they are when they're really into you. It's like they stare at pictures of you. They, everything that you say, they remember it. I mean, you guys, I think a lot of you haven't really had that kind of relationship with a guy where he's really adoring you and really cherishes you. And so you don't understand it. And you think that you have to earn a man's love and earn his attention. And I'm telling you, you don't have to do all that. Also, you don't need to be like stalking him on Facebook, and commenting on his wall and liking everything he posts. And you don't have to text him to invite him out. And you don't have to call and make up excuses to, to send him emails to tell him about some cute jokes that you heard and all this old shit. And you don't have to stock your house with his favorite liquor. And you don't have to offer to do shit for him and drive him to the airport and all this stuff. And you definitely don't cancel plans with your friends and family if he should decide to call at the last minute to ask you to do something. You don't be dropping by his job. You don't be showing up in places, excuse me, where he is, where he hangs out, like at the gym or some basketball court or something like that. You don't be giving him good gifts, and you don't give him cards. And I saw a woman do this, a friend of mine, and I told her, don't give that dude a card. She only went out with him like twice. And the next thing, she give him some mushy ass card. And dude, of course, put on his track shoes and broke out. Because he's like, this chick, she doing too much too early. She was too anxious. She's too desperate for his attention. So you want to remember that, dudes have to be the pursuer. They have to be the pursuer. If you are a smart woman, you will do what I told you, and you set things up for him to know that it's success. That is, if he approaches you, it's going to be a successful move on his part. That's where flirting comes in. Look at the video on how to flirt, and you try those things. You want to be charming, and you want to be receptive, and you want to let him know that you appreciate the time and attention that he's showing you. But you want to stop short of picking up the phone and making that call yourself. And relationships where where women do a lot of calling, the guys really, I mean, whatever chemistry they thought they was building with you and attachment and stuff, you start calling him all the time, you're gonna run him off because he's gonna say, wow, this is too easy. She's desperate or something's wrong with her mentally or emotionally. You're gonna scare him. He's gonna start thinking that he needs to put some space and distance between the two of you because you're making him uncomfortable with the pressure that you're putting on him to be in your world like that. It's almost like stalking, and these women, you women who do this kind of stuff, you need to remember that phrase, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Put some space between you. Let him miss you. Let him fantasize about you. Let him think about, how you look and how you smiled and with some funny thing that you said. He's gonna, laugh a little bit to himself. Let him build up excitement about the opportunities that he's gonna create to be around you and talk to you. You guys take all of that away. And dating is part of it is physical, when you actually go out and you're having a conversation, all that stuff. But what those things are doing is setting up the opportunities to develop an emotional connection with someone. That is the whole purpose of dating. So when you guys take those opportunities and those platforms where a guy would have the chance to develop that kind of emotional attachment to you, you remove it. I mean, what does that leave him with? It leaves him with nothing. So I know this may be a little bit difficult. You guys are used to, men just chasing after you because they just want some ass and all this kind of stuff. And, you control that though. I mean, he can call you 55 times a day. You don't have to pick up the phone 55 times. But what I'm saying is, I don't care if he calls one time or 55 times, you let him call. And that's the most important part of this video. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com and askheartbeat.com. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Bye-bye.